Welcome to today's topic. We are going to be discussing how eating more carbohydrates actually helps you lose fat. So, who here has tried a low carbohydrate diet plan? Raise your hands, raise it high. I'm pretty sure everyone has. And they're not fun, are they? They're freaking miserable. I personally have tried to eat lower carb and it always backfired on me. Most people's bodies run on carbs. And part of the issue these days is there's so much like fad diet information out there that you can just go access, right? So you can go online and someone's telling you to eat keto, or hey, like I lost all this weight with keto. And so you start to think, okay, I should eat low carbs because keto is no carbs and this person got results. The problem is you're missing a lot of key nutritional science that actually is behind understanding how your body actually metabolizes fat. And my goal is always to help you lose fat in a sustainable way. You can go like lose weight and lose muscle and lose fat quickly with crash diets, but you're going to gain it back and it's not sustainable. So I'm always looking for how can we lose fat in a sustainable way. So today we're going to talk about how to eat more carbs to lose fat and why carbs are really essential to optimizing your body composition. So some of the things that you may believe in your health and fitness journey, in your quest to understand nutrition, you may believe that like carbs are bad. All right. Have you heard that? Have you heard don't eat the bagel? Have you heard eat less carbs to lose weight? All of these beliefs may be circulating in your mind and influencing you. Why? Well, we have the low carb diet craze. We have Atkins. We have keto. Paleo isn't necessarily low carb, but because they restrict so many foods and they're so heavy on like animal products and meat and oil and nuts, you can actually like be pretty low carb on paleo as well. Okay, and so being exposed to all of these diet philosophies can start to warp your mind and you can start to believe it as truth instead of realizing, hey, this actually isn't based on nutrition science, right? So we actually want to look at like, what does the science say about our bodies? So why is low carb not sustainable? Well, for many reasons. The number one reason is because carbohydrates are enjoyable. I don't know about you, but I love a good tortilla. I love my gluten-free cinnamon raisin bread. I love fruit. I love rice. I love sweet potatoes. I love toast. I love a good croissant every now and then. Carbs are enjoyable. They're delicious. They're easily accessible. They're affordable. And they give us a lot of energy. So carbs are enjoyable, they're economical, they're accessible, and they're necessary fuel. So I want you to understand that carbohydrates are actually your body's preferred fuel source and your brain's preferred fuel source. There's a lot of trendiness out there now about like your brain wants to run on ketones, which is just categorically false. Your brain wants to run on glucose. That is, your brain is happiest when it's running on a steady stream of glucose. Your brain can run on ketones if you're in starvation mode. All right. Ketones are your body's byproduct of burning fat, and your brain can run on ketones, but it's not actually your brain's preferred fuel source. It's its backup source. And we know that backups never work as good as the primary source, right? When your electricity goes out and you have a generator, your generator generates some electricity for you, but it's not as effective as being on the grid connected to a constant supply of energy. So that's the analogy that I want you to think about when it comes to brain fuel. Your body wants carbs for the brain, and your brain exclusively runs on glucose. It doesn't run on fat molecules. It doesn't run on protein molecules. It runs on glucose. So low carb is not sustainable. And if you're watching this, if you're in my community, if you follow me, you know that I'm about fat loss in a sustainable way. Because I've been coaching women for 4+ years, and the thing I hear over and over from women, they want something sustainable. And I wanted something sustainable when I started my journey. So we're not going to cut out foods to create fat loss. There are no forbidden foods in my program. There's no forbidden foods or fads in my program because it's not sustainable. Okay, the second reason that low carb actually is detrimental to your fat loss goals is because it impairs muscle growth. So muscle mass is really important to your fat loss goals and to achieving them and maintaining them. Muscle burns more calories at rest than a pound of fat. It is much more metabolically active tissue than fat tissue. So if you are laying on the couch and you have 5 pounds of extra muscle on you, you're going to burn more calories just sitting there resting on the couch than the person who has 5 pounds less of muscle. So when you do not eat carbohydrates in the proper quantity and you're exercising or training, you can actually cause muscle wasting. This is because the body does not actually burn fat very efficiently from exercise. It actually prefers glucose, carbohydrates, or the stored form of carbohydrates, glycogen. If it doesn't have access to that, it's going to go to protein, and it's going to do a process called gluconeogenesis, where it's breaking down protein to actually create the glucose it needs. So when you undereat carbs, you put your muscle tissue at risk, because your body is going to break down protein, your muscle tissue, before it's going to efficiently break down your fat stores. Shocking, I know, right? So you need to have good muscle mass on your body, not just for fat loss, but for aging well. And, as a nurse, I saw so many people who were it's called cachetic, and it means like muscle wasting, like they're just very skinny and thin, but not in like a healthy way, in like a skeleton way, like a starvation way. And as you age, it's really important that you have as much muscle mass on your body as possible. It will help prevent falls, which is one of the biggest things that takes people out as they get older. It will also help prevent mobility issues. You want to be able to stand up off the toilet by yourself when you're 85. I know that's one of my goals. And it will also make your quality of life better, help improve your mental health as you age, and prevent depression, anxiety, amongst a whole host of other benefits. So it's very important that we maintain muscle in order to be effective long-term with our fat loss goals. The third reason why eating less carbs is hurting your fat loss is because it's impairing your athletic performance. So when you're training your body, you can just like move your body for fun and joy and feeling good and endorphins. But if you want to change your body, if you want to build more muscle, if you want to burn fat, you have to apply a stimulus to the body that causes it to overcome its threshold to change. Your body is designed to maintain homeostasis. So you actually have to apply a stimulus that causes things to change. And there's a threshold, actually. So like, for example, as you get stronger, you have to lift heavier and heavier weights to cause a stimulus to overcome that threshold, because your body has adapted. So there's a stimulus that needs to be applied. If you are under eating carbs, you will not be able to work out as hard as you need to work out to cause that stimulus. If you are underfueled, you will be weak in the gym. You will not have the energy to do your workouts, and you will not be able to overcome the stimulus necessary, overcome that threshold. The fourth reason why eating more carbs can lead to fat loss is because when you undereat carbs, you tend to eventually binge and overeat. Who has been there? When we restrict things, we crave them. They become tempting to us. We can't stop thinking about them. And then that compulsive, obsessive thinking will lead to us giving in to our temptation. We only have so much self-control. We only have so much ability to resist temptation in our lives. And so if you are constantly restricting carbohydrates, which are enjoyable and delicious, eventually you're going to binge. Eventually you're going to overeat, which is going to push you further away from your fat loss goals. So we can see that eating more carbohydrates is actually something that will improve your muscle growth, will improve your athletic performance, will improve your relationship to food and prevent binges and overeating. And it will also give you good brain health. It will give you solid energy. It will improve your mental health, which will also improve your eating habits and your relationship to food. Now, there's some gaps in your thinking that I want to help you clarify. While eating more carbs will help you lose fat, there are some things you need to know. You need to know the right quantity of carbohydrates to eat for your body and your activity, your age, your height, your weight. And that's called your unique macronutrient formula. This is what's missing from so much of the general nutrition advice you're exposed to, like Noom, like Weight Watchers, like intuitive eating, like Whole30, like paleo. They're missing the precision component of what's unique for your body. Your body is unique. You are unique. And you need to discover and learn your unique macronutrient formula and how to program it effectively and adjust it throughout life in order to lose fat and maintain it. Look, if you eat 100 extra calories a year, you can gain 10 pounds of fat in a year. Okay, that's called weight creep. If you do that 5 years in a row, you've just gained 50 pounds. This is how easy it is to gain fat. Now, we don't need to be terrified at all times like, oh my God, I went over my calories by 200 today. I'm going to gain 10 pounds of fat this year. No, but it's a mistake to think that quantity doesn't matter. I see this trend now out there like, oh, calories aren't as important anymore. I'm like, where is this BS nutrition science coming from? Calories 100% matter. It's called the law of thermodynamics. And anybody who tells you calories don't matter, just try not eating for 3 months and you will discover that calories 100% do matter. So input matters, and the amount of input into your body matters. So that's the first thing. You need to discover your unique macronutrient formula. The second thing is you need to discover your unique insulin sensitivity, because not all carbs are created equal and not everyone's body responds to carbs in the same way. So just like you have a unique macronutrient formula, you also have a unique insulin sensitivity. You have a unique way that your body responds to carbohydrates. So you need to learn how sensitive is your body to carbs. How sensitive are your cells to the uptake of glucose? And that is your unique insulin sensitivity. The third thing is you need to understand the glycemic index and glycemic load. You may be familiar with glycemic index, but glycemic load is actually more important than glycemic index alone. And you need to understand what those two things are. And you need to understand how to evaluate foods on their glycemic load. And then finally, you need to learn how to use advanced carbohydrate programming strategies to optimize fat loss and sustainability throughout your life. Right? So those are the 4 things that you need to learn. Ultimately, eating more carbohydrates in the right quantity for your body, in the right response to your unique insulin sensitivity, and managing the glycemic load of carbohydrates and using advanced carbohydrate programming strategies is going to help you lose fat. And in a very sustainable way where you don't have to cut out your favorite foods and you don't have to forbid an entire macronutrient category like carbohydrates, which is why keto is insane to me. Let's get rid of one of the primary and 3 fuel sources in the body. Let's just get rid of it. Makes zero sense, okay? So if this is something that you want to learn more about and you feel like you need help with discovering your unique macronutrient formula, your unique insulin sensitivity, then send me a message saying more and I'd be happy to chat more with you.